Bonjour, long time no see. Sorry if I sound a bit dodgy, I've got a cold. But what I've also got is this. Yay! The holy grail of N64 accessories. I've been looking for one of these for years, literally years. They are very hard to find and horrendously expensive. So Wideboy 64 AGB, made by Intelligent Systems. Intelligent Systems is a subsidiary of Nintendo, and they've made a few games and that, but they also make Nintendo's development hardware, and this is a development tool. It was never for sale to the public. There are two variations of it: the Wideboy 64 CGB, which plays Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, and this one which plays Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games. And they were basically made so that testers and developers could test handheld games on a proper screen, so they don't go blind squinting at little LCDs. But very, very difficult to come by. This comfortably the most expensive piece of gaming console related hardware I've ever bought. I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, but it was comfortably more expensive than even the Mint Wonder Mega. But I've got one now, and I'm very happy with it. And it basically is a Game Boy Advance in a cartridge. Unlike other solutions like the Super Retro Advance, which are emulation based, this actually contains all of the main components of a Game Boy Advance, the CPU, the GPU, and what have you. So it's completely, it's a Game Boy Advance in a cartridge basically. And you just plug it in there. I'll give you a little demo. Yay, the N64 again. And switch him on. Using the EverDrive. And we shall pick a game. Let's go with Sonic Advance. Another obvious benefit over things like the Super Retro Advance is that this outputs using the N64's own graphics hardware. So if you've RGB modded your N64 like that one is, then you get a real clean RGB image as opposed to the composite which you get from Super Retro Advance. These are damn good as well. If you haven't got one, you should get one. The Brawler 64, excellent controller. There we go. You can also it defaults to this pixel perfect 1:1 display, where it's the actual resolution and aspect ratio of a GBA screen, so it looks really sharp and really nice. But you can, with the analog stick on the pad, you can zoom in so it's nearly full screen. It must display the it must put it up as like a background layer of the N64, which it then scales. Does a decent job of scaling it. It adds an anti-aliasing effect by default if you zoom in, so you lose a little bit of definition. There's zoomed in. You can actually, by pressing the Z trigger, you can turn the anti-aliasing off, but because it's been scaled by an odd amount, you get weird shaped pixels, so it looks much nicer with the anti-aliasing on. But zoomed out like that is where you get the clearest picture. And yeah, it's a very nice piece of tech, and I'm glad I've got one. And that's about it. So thank you for watching.